Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Constructors over. Hello. Constructors over. What's the concept is going on in your A section?
Sir, access control
Access
completed,
control
sir.
over. Access control over. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Now coming to constructors. This is actually void read data. Void read data. Yeah. Actually, what is the meaning of constructor means? Before going to what is the purpose of constructor, first we have to find out what is the disadvantage using the method. What is the disadvantage using the method? If you can understand what is the disadvantage of method, very easy to identify what is a constructor. Coming to main section, you copy this. Now here, the main class, here we can create the object for passing objects class. P1 is equal to new passing objects dot new passing objects. Okay, here passing object P1 is equal to new passing object. This is the creation of object. Creation of object. Okay, creation of object syntax. Now, okay, you will call the method p1 dot read data. Okay, what is the need of read data? To read the instances. To read the instances A and B. A is equal to s dot next give the values. Okay, what is the need of read data method? To give the values for instances. Okay, here A and B are the instances. A and B are the instances. Okay, p1 dot read data. Whenever you call the read data, okay, this is a scanner s object has created in the p1 object. Instances are initialized. Okay, here first you can create the object. How do you initialize the objects here? Instances. First we will create the object. Next we will call the method. In that method, the methods are initialized. Sorry, the instances are initialized. How many steps here? Two steps. That is the creation of object. Next one is initializing the instances. Initializing the instances. Okay, two-step procedure to initialize the instances. In this step, you should require P1. P1 means before that you already created the object. P1, the passing objects P1 is equal to new passing objects. Okay, these two are the two different statements. Okay, now what is the purpose of read data? Initializing the instances. Okay, initializing the instances. That means creating the object and calling the method. This is some lengthy procedure. This is some lengthy procedure. Finally, what is the ultimate conclusion about these two statements? To initialize the instances. Okay, to initialize the instances. Instead of method, you have to initialize the instances using the constructor. While creating the objects, okay, the instances are initialized. While creation of object, okay, that means whenever I will create the object of passing class object, It can be initialized. It can be initialized means what are the instances in P1 object? The instances are initialized. Okay, the instances are initialized. This is the concept of constructor. No need of one more call. No need of this statement. P1 dot read of this one. Okay, now we'll go to this is the method to have we have to initialize the instances up to now. Okay, this is the procedure. First create the object, next we will call. Okay, now we'll go to passing objects class. What is the constructor means? The name of the class is the constructor name. Constructor is also method, but it is special method. Constructor is also method. Okay, that is special method. Why? Because the constructor doesn't have the return type. The constructor doesn't have the return type, but method have the return type. Now we have to replace this. What is the name of the constructor means class name. Passing objects. Okay, passing objects parenthesis. This is the method in the previous. That is the get data. Get data is the method. This is the code in get data in the previous. Okay, same thing. Okay, first this one I will keep it as comments. Now the same I have to write it in the constructor. Passing objects is a constructor. There the same code I will write here. Okay, the same code. Now what is the procedure to call the read data? First you will create the object. Read data is the method. We will create the object, then you will call the read data method. Here no need to call the read data. There is no read data method at all in our class. Okay, now we will call to what is main.java. Go to main.java. Okay, here I will create the object. Passing objects P1 is equal to new passing objects. This is the object creation. Okay, here look here. Passing objects parenthesis. This is new after having the class name followed by parenthesis. That is called as constructor. Objects are constructed with constructors. Okay, objects are constructed with constructors. Okay, up to now we don't have any constructors. This is the first class I introduced the constructors. Before that, no constructors. You don't know what is a constructor. Okay, before that already we used the constructors while creating the objects. This is the object creation. This is called as constructor. Class name followed by parenthesis. Where is the constructor in our class in the previous? No constructor. Constructor is not defined by the user, but every class having its own constructor. Without constructor, we cannot create the objects in Java. Constructing the objects. Okay, constructing the object means what is the constructor here? This is the constructor, the class name followed by parenthesis. Okay, that is as per syntax of object creation. Class name followed by constructor object name is equal to new class name parenthesis. Class name parenthesis is a constructor. Okay, is a constructor. Okay, but after now we don't have any constructors. Now in my class having the constructor. Okay, whenever the user can define the constructor, the user can define the constructor in his class. He will create the objects. We will create the objects. This. Okay, look here. This is the creation of object. Okay, passing, actually whatever we are calling with the name of that we will call it. Okay, here passing objects parenthesis. Now my class having the passing objects parenthesis. Yes or no? This is the constructor. This is the constructor. This is the constructor. Now here the object creation have the constructor. Now I have the constructor. Previously, did I have the constructor in my class? No, I don't have any constructor. This is the first class I introduced the constructor. Okay, but before that already we created number of objects. Objects are created with constructors. If no constructors in your class, the class itself having the constructor, such type of constructors are called, constructor is called as implicit constructor. That is predefined constructor. Okay, that is predefined constructor. If you don't have any constructors in your class, if you don't have any constructor, the user cannot write any constructors, cannot define any constructor in the user class, user created class, the class itself having the constructor. It cannot be visible. That constructor, that class should have the constructor. Otherwise, how do you call? This is the passing objects. This is the constructor calling. If it is not available in the passing objects class, then you will call, you will get error. But you should not get any error means that is implicitly, that is not visible to user. Whenever you can use your own constructors, implicit constructor has locked. Your own constructors are called as explicit constructors. Okay, the class itself having the constructor that is called as implicit constructor. The objects are constructed with the constructors. Okay, the implicit constructor or explicit constructor. Now tell me, this is the implicit constructor or explicit constructor? What is the syntax of implicit constructor? Class name followed by parenthesis. Okay, if it is not defined in the class, that is implicit, but here it is defined. That is implicit or explicit? If it is,
Explicit.
that is explicit constructor, but that looks like a implicit constructor. Okay, that looks like a implicit constructor. Actually, that is explicit constructor. Okay, now this is whenever the object has created, the constructor has executed. The constructor has been executed. Okay, what is the code here? Execution of constructor. Okay, creating the objects of same code of the read data. Same code of the read data. The read data code here I return in the which class, which one in the constructor. Okay, the read data has replaced with the passing objects constructor. Okay, now no need to call once again. While creating the object, okay, while creating the object, automatically the objects are initialized. In the previous, suppose if there is no constructor, this is the procedure. Creating the object and calling the method for initializing the instances. Now, no need. This is the object creation. This is the call of object. This is the call of constructor. In the constructor, same I return. Here, how many statements are required to initialize the instances? Single statement is required. In the previous, creating the object and call the method. Always we can follow the objects are initialized, object instances are initialized with the help of constructors. With the help of constructors itself. Never we can follow with the help of method. Before that, why I was using here means we don't know what is a constructor. Once constructor you have to initialize the instances within the constructor only. That is the reason for to use the constructors. That is the purpose to develop the constructors. Okay, to initialize the instances. Constructors are used to initialize the objects. Initialize the objects means Okay, before going to initialize the object, initialize the object can be done with two types of, with two methods you have to do. The first one with the methods, next one with the constructor. Which is the advantages means constructor is the advantages. Constructor is the advantages. First of all, what is object initialization? Object initialization means state of the object. You have to give the state for object. What is the state? Object having the data is called as, the object's data is called as state. Object's data is called as state. Okay, you have to give the data. For what you have to give the data? Instances. You have to initialize the instances using either method or constructor, that is called as initialization of object. Initialization of object. That's all. Okay, you have to initialize the instances of an object means finally we can say that is object is initialized. The state of the object. Okay, state of the object. Now we'll come to, this is the passing objects. Scanner is equal to new scanner. Okay, the same thing. Okay, this is the creation of object. Okay, this is the creation of object. 1 minute. Okay, here this is the one object. I will create one more object also here. That is P2. The P2 object is also created with explicit constructor. Okay, explicit constructors. Next one more. This is the P3. In the previous, okay, we'll call P1 dot read data, P2 dot read data like this. Here no need. Simply we'll write it P3 is equal to P1 dot add of P2. P3 is equal to P1 dot add of. That means you have to reduce the code also. You have to reduce the code also. The previous, once again you have to write, you have to call the read data P2 dot read data. The read data method, in what way the read data method is defined, in the same way the code has replaced with method, that is constructor name. Okay, that is not code, the name of the method has replaced with constructor name. That's all. Okay, look here, the code is same here. This is the code, this is the code is the same, but what is the difference? This is the method, this is the constructor. What is the advantage? If you can write the method, okay, create the object and then once again you will call. Create the object, once again you will call the method. If it is a constructor, while creating the object, automatically constructors are invoked. Constructors are executed, calling the constructors. Okay, next we'll write the p1 dot display p2 dot display p3 dot display. Okay, p3 dot display. Now coming to passing objects. Okay, here this is using the returning the current object. The code has written in returning the current object. Okay, the code has written with the current object. Now we can run this program. Enter AB values. That is First calling the first constructor. Okay, this is the first constructor calling. Come to here. In which object? P1 object. P1 object AB values are 10 and 20. Next, P2 object AB values are 30 and 40. Okay, this is the current object has returned. P1 dot display means the resultant are in the P1 object. Next, P2 doesn't have that, don't change the values of P2, and P3 values are returning the current object that is assigned to P3. Okay, the P3 dot display means same values of the P1. Okay, same values of the P1. This is already completed, returning the objects. The concept already covered. Here the new one is, this is creating the objects. Okay, creating the objects. This is the way you have to initialize the objects. Okay, this is the way you have to initialize the objects. Initializing the objects with the constructor, initializing the object with method. Okay, which is advantages? Which is advantages?
Constructor.
Constructor is advantages. Okay, the code has reduced. Okay, simply the the method name has replaced with constructor name. No need to call once again. While creating the object, suppose if you have the knowledge, very easy to identify. Okay, look here, this is the calling of constructor. That's the method call. Class name followed by parenthesis. That is the method calling. That's the method calling. The objects are created with method calling. Constructor calling. The objects are created with constructor calling. That's simple. Apply the knowledge. Okay, this is about constructors. Next, coming to overload. Okay, overloading is the concept of compiled time polymorphism. Polymorphism has classified into two types. Very beginning, I am telling. Very beginning, when I was started uh, hoops concepts, the first the one of the concept is of polymorphism. Poly means many, morphism means shade, number of shades. Okay, number of shades that is classified into two types: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. The many shades has resolved at compilation is called as compile time polymorphism. The many shades has resolved at runtime is called as runtime polymorphism. Is called as runtime polymorphism. Okay, now how can you achieve the polymorphism? Also, I said that. Okay, how can you achieve the compile time polymorphism? I said that. How can you achieve the compile time polymorphism? How can you achieve the runtime polymorphism? మీకు ఎలా కనిపిస్తుంది అని చెప్పాను నేను. ఎక్కడ కనిపిస్తుంది కంపైల్ టైం పాలిమార్ఫిజం, ఎక్కడ రన్ టైం పాలిమార్ఫిజం అని చెప్పి ఎక్కడ? In which this is the concept for compile time polymorphism. This is the concept for runtime polymorphism in Java. Overloading is the compile time polymorphism. Overriding is the runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism is called as static binding. Static means compilation. Okay, runtime polymorphism is called as dynamic binding. Okay, dynamic binding. Okay, that means here the concept of compile time polymorphism is achieved with method overloading. Method overloading and constructor overloading. First of all, what is overloading? Okay, look here, this is the class. In this class, I have one method, read data. Have one method, this is the read data method. What is polymorphism? The same kind of method, you have one more. Suppose in our class, one name has repeated. One name have two more than one person. Within our class, one name have more than one person is called as overloading. That name has overloaded. The name has overloaded. Names are similar, but objects are different. No, not equal, not same, but have the similarities. Names are same. Okay, here I will write one more get data. Sorry, one more read data. void read data. A void read data. Okay, here shown the red line for read data. Why? Because suppose overloading means suppose twins are there. Looks like same. Looks like same means definitely no two objects are same. Two objects are similar. Two objects are similar means that is called as overloading. Two objects are same means that's not a overloading. Suppose twins are there, you have to identify the differences between these two guys. Definitely you can identify a small difference. A small also. That is called as overloading. Okay, here, look here, this is the read data method, this is the read data method. Okay, this is the void, the return type of the first one is void, the return type of the second one is also void. Read data, no parameters, no parameter. These two are same, not similar. At compilation, the compiler will check the what is the method declaration, what is the return type of the method, what is the name of the method, how many number of parameters in the method, what are the types of the parameters. Okay, check all these things. Okay, it will generate the one signature, one value while compilation. Okay, suppose the compiler will check for this one. Suppose 0.8 is the signature value. Okay, this is also looks like same. What is the signature value for this also? 0.8. Two method signatures are having the same value means it can generate the error. It can generate the error. It is not a overloading. Now we have to given the apply the differences between these two methods. Differences between these two methods. Now I can differentiate these two with the help of instance. Now redline has removed. No redline here. Now this is overloading. Now these two are similar but not same. Return types are same, method names are same. First method is no parameterized method. Second method is sorry, one parameterized method. First method is no parameterized method. Second method is no one parameterized method. The type is integer. These two methods signature is not equal. What's the signature value for this one? Suppose we can assume in the previous that is 0.8. This is not at all 0.8. Having some similarities but not same. This is called as overloading. Okay, this is called as overloading. Okay, how can you differentiate with the help of arguments list, parameters list? Parameters list and parameters type. Suppose if it is integer, this is the one parameterized. I have one more also, that is character ch. Okay, this is also overloading. This is also overloading. No red line shown. Both are one parameterized methods. But what is the difference? The first method parameter is the character. The second method parameter is the integer. You have to differentiate with data types also, with the types also, number of parameters and with the types. Okay, with types you have to overload like this. Okay, you have to overload like this. Okay, now this is the first one, no parameterized. This is the second one parameterized. This is the third one. Same name of the method. Okay, here I have the two parameters. Here I have the two parameters. This is called as overloading. Okay, this is called as overloading. The same method name has to be repeated for three methods: read data, read data, read data. But how it is overloaded? This is no parameterized method. This is the one parameterized method. This is the two parameterized method. One no parameters. Next one. No parameter. No parameters. No parameters. One parameter. This is two parameter. Two parameters. No parameterized, one parameterized and two parameters. Okay, but the method name is same. Read data, read data, read data. I will write it, read data. Okay, here I can read it. Scanner S is equal to new scanner of system.in. New scanner system.in. Next, system.read the value. System.out.println enter values. Enter values. I will read it. What are the instances? X is equal to s dot next int. Y is equal to s dot next int. Okay, reading the x and y. Here, already I have the parameter here. From the main, I will call the read data with x. Okay, with x. Okay, that x, suppose the x value is equal to 10. Now we can, here the instance name is equivalent to parameter name. Instance name is equivalent to parameter name. Then we cannot write it x is equal to x. What is the concept we are following here? Can you write x is equal to x? That's not a problem, but you will get wrong results. What is the concept we can apply here? Instance name is equivalent to parameter name. What is instance? X is equal to x. Here I will write it x is equal to x. What is the concept here we can follow? ये concept follow होता हूँ. X is equal to x. Can you write x is equal to x? No error. I said that previous. X is equal to x means both are the parameters. X is equal to x means what's the meaning? X is equal left hand side is x is parameter, y is x is also right hand side, x is also parameter. Now we have to differentiate. This is instance, this is parameter. How can you differentiate? This dot x is equal to x and y is equal to x. These two are different. Okay, y is equal to x. Come to here. This dot x is equal to x. This dot y is equal to y. Okay, this dot y is equal to y. These three are the three different types of methods. For purpose is same. Purpose is same to initialize the instances. Okay, with the help of first method, read the instances through the keyboard. No parameters are there. In the second instance, have the parameter. That parameter has assigned to both instances. That is, this dot x is equal to x. This dot y is equal to x. You can write this dot y is equal to x also. That's not a problem. In the third method, two parameters are there. One parameter is x, another parameter is y. Okay, one parameter is equal to x, another parameter is y. Okay, now we have to differentiate. This dot x is equal to x, so this dot y is equal to y. Okay, three different ways the instances are initialized here in three different ways. Okay, as per your usage, as per your object, you have to utilize any one of the method for initializing the instances. Okay, initializing the instances, overloading. Okay, now we'll come to write one more method, that is void display. Void display system dot out dot println a plus b. Now I'll copy this. It is b dot out. Okay, now we'll create the object for overload class. Overload O1 is equal to new overload. Any constructor in the class? No constructor. But we are calling the constructor here. No constructors in our class. We are calling the constructor. Means which constructor we are calling? What's the name of the constructor? What is the
Overload.
no constructor in our class? Is there any constructor here? No constructor. But here the object has created with constructor. What is the name of this constructor? Every class having its own ఏముంటుంది ఏం కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఉంటుంది ఏ క్లాస్లో కూడా కన్స్ట్రక్టర్స్ లేవు అంటే there is no user defined constructors means what is the name of the explicit there is no explicit
Predefined constructor.
implicit constructor or predefined constructor. Okay, predefined constructor. Okay, next one, create the objects. 3 objects I will create here. This is O2, this is O3. 3 different types of objects. Okay, now first I will call O1 read data method, no parameterized read data with O1. Okay, first the method, the object 1, that is O1, overload object 1, okay, calling which type of constructor, which type of method, that is no parameterized method. Okay, no parameterized method, that means in the object O1 also having the 3 types of methods, but which method is calling here? No parameterized method is calling. Okay, next one, O2 dot read data. O2 dot read data, okay, that is one parameterized method. In O2 also having the 3 types of methods, no parameterized, one parameterized and 2 parameters, but which method is calling here? One parameterized method is calling. You have to choose any one of the method, don't choose more than one. All are using for initializing the instances. Any one of the method you have to initialize the instances. I will call o1 dot read data, o1 dot read data of 10, o1 dot read data of 10 comma 20 means the data has replaced. You have to initialize the instances using any one of the method. O1 object has calling no parameterized method, O2 has calling one parameterized method, O3 has calling two parameterized method. Okay, two parameterized method. అంటే O1లో రిమైనింగ్ 2 లేవని కాదు, ఉంటాయి. బట్ యాజ్ పర్ అవర్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఐ విల్ కాల్ O1 dot read data. I have to read the data with no parameterized method for O1. For O2, three read data methods are there, but calling here one parameterized. In both three methods are there, but calling two parameterized method. Okay, two parameterized method. Next we'll come to display. O1 dot display. O1 dot display, O2 dot display. Oh, no display. Spelling mistake. O1 dot display, O2 dot display, O3 dot display. This is O2. This is O3. Okay, run this program. So first, which one? O1 dot read data. O1 dot read data means enter the inputs by the keyboard. Here asking the values 10 and 20. O1 object x and y values are 10 and 20. O2 object 10. Okay, O2 object, what's the value here? 10. That is passing to get data read data method. This dot x in O2 object x and y values are 10 and 10. Okay, in O3 dot read data, calling the read data, in O3 object, x and y values are 10 and 20 because of these two are the parameters. Okay, now run this program. This is the program. Not in the x and y. Okay, in the O1 object, x and y values are 10 and 20. O2 object, already the x value is equal to 10. The x has copied, 10 has copied into x. This dot x is equal to x. In O2 object, x and y values are 10 and 10. Okay, in O2 object, here passing the values 10 and 20. The 10 and 20 have copied into O3 object x and y. Okay, the same type of method procedure you have to apply using different methods. Different types of procedures, different types of that is the method name is same. Okay, you have to read the values using the read data method in three different types, using the same method name. That is a concept, using the same method name is, this is the concept of overloading. Okay, this is the concept of overloading. Okay, overloading of methods. Okay, you have to write it like this, overloading. Okay, you have to write it like this, overloading. The same method name with parameters, without parameters, and different types of parameters. Okay, you have to write it. That's not a problem. Okay, that's not a problem. Next, constructor overloading. Constructor overloading means, okay, constructor name is also in the class. Okay, now the read data has replaced it with constructor name. That's called as constructor overloading. Okay, come to here, overload. Read data, actually the purpose of read data has replaced with constructor. This is the one constructor. This is one constructor. Read data has replaced with overload. That is the class name. This is the class name. This is the constructor overloading. The constructor overloading, just once you can write all these things. Okay, go to main section, copy here. Okay, no read data concept here. What's the need of read data? The same code has written in the constructor, just the first one object with no parameterizer constructor. This is with one parameterizer constructor. We have to sending the parameters. This is the two parameterizer constructor. Okay, this is equivalent to O1 dot read data. This is equivalent to O1 dot read data of 10. Okay, this is equivalent to O2 dot read data of 10. This is equivalent to O3 dot read data of 10 comma 20. Constructors are overloaded. Okay, up to now we have created the objects, okay, without parameters. New object, that is our class name followed by object name, is equal to new object, new class name followed by parenthesis only up to now. But here we have to sending the parameters also while creating the objects. Okay, while creating the objects. Okay, while creating the objects, we have to passing the arguments also to the constructor. Okay, same, no change of program, no change of output. Run this. Only read data has replaced with constructor class name. 10 and 20. Output is same. This is constructor overloading, that is method overloading. Constructor overloading and method overloading. Okay, one more. What are the what are the different types of things are overloaded here? Constructors are overloaded, and next one, methods are overloaded. Can you overload the instances? Can you overload the instances? Okay, here x and y are the instances. X and y are the instances. Can you overload the instances in the class? Can you overload the instances means for one more type of variables. More, suppose I have one more float variables. Float variables are also having the same name, float x comma y. Can you write it? Can you declare with the x and y some other variables? Suppose here int x comma y. Okay, I will write the one more x and y. Can you overload the instances? X and y are instances here. Can you overload? No, we cannot overload the instances.
No, sir.
Which are overloaded? Methods are overloaded. Constructors are overloaded. That's all, but not instances. Instances cannot be overloaded. Only the class. What are the overloaded items means? Sorry, what are the overloaded items means? Only the